Hello, Renee Flamont here. Please hit subscribe and like and comment if you have something to share with us. I'd love to hear from you. This topic fascinates me because it had a lot. I had to break down a lot to get through this, okay, when I was learning this. And when I discovered this, pardon me, a neighbor just beeped their horn. Did you hear that? Sorry. In all of my research on the topic of the possibility that, well, I wasn't researching the possibility of being addicted to pain. My research led me to realize that I was indeed addicted to pain. And I was led to this because I definitely had an unhealthy relationship with feeling hurt or experiencing pain, and I knew it. I didn't understand it, but I felt it. I wondered, why did I keep going back in? That's not a healthy relationship with pain if you're going back in and you know you're going to get hurt again. What was that about? So I wondered why. Why did I keep going back in? There's something here because I know I don't want him anymore. I looked at the man and I was thinking, yuck. Yet I was going back and forth in allowing communication with this person to continue. That made no sense to me. So I think she hears thunder. This is how she gets. It's afoot. And they sense it, I think, miles away from when we sense it or hear it or see it. She gets a little crazy. I knew there was something here because when I say that I knew I didn't want him anymore, but I kept going back and forth, that was enough to show me what an unhealthy relationship I had. So in starting to research, I started to pay attention to anything that I found that would lead me to understand what was going on. Because I didn't understand what is going on. I came upon a quote from one of my favorite people that I read on Quora. His name is Robert Torbay, Torbay. Very, very bright, very insightful, excellent answers to questions regarding narcissistic personality disorder. And I've actually read this quote to you before. I have, because I love it. But it was many, many months ago. But I felt the need to revisit this topic because once I got a handle on it, I truly had an easier time navigating the waters of no contact, navigating the waters of staying away from the narcissist, navigating the waters and understanding. Okay? I still had the same back and forth to contend with. I still went ahead and had more back and forth after I read and learned this quote. But with this comment that I'm about to read, it helped me get in line my ability to not want to respond or answer him, and eventually hold no contact and make it stick. If anything, it certainly opened up an entire world of more work that I had to do, right? Robert Torbay's answer to the question, why do people stay with narcissists? That was the question. Why do people stay with narcissists? And he says, I love this so much. Addiction. Why do people stay with narcissists? He says, addiction to painkillers. People who stay with narcissists are addicted to being lovesick. They are addicted to yearning, hurting, being wistful, hoping, praying, pining. They are addicted to hurting. When we hurt, the body produces natural painkillers. The agony of your heart slowly breaking releases a steady stream of such endorphins. You are short-circuiting your brain in order to get high. You are willfully participating in your own destruction, mutilating yourself for the chemical rush the body produces. For the chemical rush the body produces. Burning the furniture is no way to stay warm. Robert. Fascinating. It's perfection, this quote. So did I break no contact because I craved my own chaos? Did I keep going back in because I craved more and more? Did I feel like a dose of drama? Did I need a hit of that natural body's painkiller that will kick in to heal me if I feel pain? Right? That's what it's saying. I feel like, or both. I mean, oh my God, it was eye-opening to me, and I refused to be a slave to any of it. That's what it did for me when I read that quote. I refused to be a slave to any of it. So I buckled down and really looked at it. Now, I've explained to you before that I don't really have any addictions that ail me. And when I read this and realized that, yes, actually I do have an addiction that ails me, that wasn't indeed an affliction I needed to be that I needed to dissect, that I needed to shed. When I realized this, I was, needless to say, highly disturbed. It made me aware of how much more work I had to do in the department of healing myself, in the department of self-love. Aside from him, what did I need to heal? This is something that's within me, separate from him. And you may or may not feel this way. I definitely was. This one wants to get down again. Sorry, I'm sorry. When you've realized and you're made aware of how much more work you have in the department of healing yourself, it made me anxious to get to work on that. And it made me anxious to separate and keep myself separate from him, because I didn't want to couple me going through what I'm now trying to deal with also dealing with him. It made me concentrate on myself, which is what helped me. Anything that helps. Anything that helps. It took my mind off of my conflict with him, for example. In other words, I was like, okay, now we need to look inward and we have some work. Myself, my stuff, me. This stuff goes back to your childhood, and we've said that many times, and many, many things that you read and find will tell you that everything that you deal with goes back to your childhood. What you experienced, how you internalized that upbringing. Ways you reacted may not be the same as your siblings. You're all different people. If you have siblings, everyone's different. But when looking into my affliction in this regard and learning it was certainly a dramatic upbringing by nature of the nature of how we can be in my family, it made me aware of the fact that I was bringing that forward into this now, into this conflict. And it was crippling me. It wasn't doing me any service. It was doing me a disservice. So I was very anxious to figure it out and try to get to the bottom of it. I was addicted to my own cycle of getting into the pain, talking about it until there are no more words, and then being okay again. Because my family always gets back to euphoria. We have a blast together. But we're dramatic. We're dramatic people. The Italian side. It's, in my family. I'm not saying if you're, it's a very dramatic way of everything is dramatic and loud and big, and there's no medium. You're either sleeping or loud. Like, it's just, everything's dramatic. And I think I was definitely bringing that forward, as would happen repeatedly in my lifetime. I looked back and it was a habit I'd been doing my whole life. I had work to do. And that was many, many months ago, and I've been working on it since, looking at that, right? I no longer have a need to feed that monster. I now have learned I can keep that at bay. I don't want to be addicted to pain or the painkiller or both. I don't want an addiction like that, because that can dictate your behavior in a way that doesn't suit you. It did me with this narcissist. And I'm not saying that's all the reason I kept going back in, but I'm certainly positive that it would lend itself to my detriment. I'm addicted to drama or pain or painkillers or both or hurt or whatever you want to call it. Oh my God, that doesn't lend itself well to healing from a narcissist. It's the opposite. I want you to give it some thought, especially the part when it says, when we hurt, the body produces natural painkillers. That's those endorphins we had talked about several videos back now. What if that's what I was craving? So the roundabout way that I went about it is to accept more pain or hurt from this narcissist, so I knew that my body would produce endorphins to get me through it? Maybe. I'm not a doctor. Maybe. My God, how dysfunctional is that? And you know, nothing, you know when you're going back in that there's going to be pain. That's the part that opened my eyes to that. Because I started to look at it and go, okay, what are you expecting every time you go back in? I knew it was always going to be bad. So do you. Pardon me. So do you. We all know it's going to be bad. You know you're never going to come out of it with a glorious tale of romantic entanglement that ended the way that you wanted. You with him or her living, that was never going to happen, and you knew it. So you may actually be addicted to the pain. It's something to look at and think of your childhood and think of your habits in life and what have you carried forward. It helped a lot, because I could then get a handle on my own affliction in that regard, and that was no longer a crutch. So now I was only dealing, which is enough, with the conflict with him. But my strength was getting more within myself. And I started to say, what's going on here? Why am I doing this? Once I discovered why, once you admit it, or not admit, that's not an admit thing. Once you discover that and you see it, you can be aware of what's happening when it's happening to you. So then I would start to question myself when I was teetering on going back in. Okay, Renee, what are you craving right now? Are you bored? I would ask myself, are you bored? Are you just in the mood for a fight with him? Are you just in the mood for some drama? Are you just in the mood for one, day of having it be blissful, even if the next day is going to be a disaster? Sure, invite him over. Go right ahead. Have a ball. Now, armed with the information I learned with this quote, I'm telling you, I love this quote so much. Armed with the information with this quote, I started to ask myself a lot of questions. And it helped me. No, I'm not going to call him. I think I'm just craving some nonsense. I think I'm just in the mood for a fight. I think I'm just... You know what I mean? It's fascinating. Morbidly fascinating. But we do that to ourselves. We take forward from our childhood into this, and it can muck up the waters even more. These waters don't need any help getting mucked up. So if you have any baggage that you think you have, like you might be addicted to pain like this or hurt, and your instinct is, no, I'm not. That was my instinct. Of course I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not addicted to drama. I'm not addicted to it. I think if I'm being honest with myself, I have to say that I was. It's to no fault of my own. It's your upbringing. It's what you surround yourself with. It's what you're used to. You're comfortable there. That's where your comfort is. Yeah. You can get like that, where you're comfortable in a place of repeated behavior that you're used to from growing up. It feels familiar. Oh, I can live here. This feels familiar to me. Maybe total bliss, uninterrupted by bouts of this horrific nature, maybe total bliss would feel unnatural to you. Maybe it would feel weird to me. Maybe I wanted to mix things. I don't know. But it really did open my eyes. And I want you to look at that, because that might be something that you have as well. If it is, you can get a handle on it. Just be aware of it. That alone will help you going forward, because the next round, you could say to yourself, whoa, stop. What's going on? Why do I want to talk to them? Why do I still want them around? Why am I thinking that I miss them? You may actually be addicted in the same way that I was. I hope this helps you.